Female genital mutilation, FGM, comprises all procedures that involve altering or injuring the female genitalia for non-medical reasons. It is recognized globally as a violation of the human rights of girls and women. The federal government introduced the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act in 2015, and as such, the act in itself is criminalized under law in Nigeria. Reasons given for the practice of female genital mutilation ranges from culture to its being used to curb illicit sexual appetites of women and girls in the country. Religious, cultural obligations such as rites of passage into adulthood and part of naming ceremonies. The World Health Organization says over 200 million girls and women alive today have gone through this harmful traditional practice which violates the right to health, security, physical integrity, right to be free from torture and cruelty, inhumane or degrading treatments, and the right to life when the procedure results in death. As the world marks this year's Zero Tolerance against female genital mutilation, on Panorama we shall take a cursory look at the causes and effects of this act on a girl child. Be reminded that you can watch this news on our social media platforms. I am Adeola Komi Akere. Welcome to Panorama. Putting in place a strategy that will guide collective efforts to prevent, detect, and respond to substandard and falsified medicinal products is key in ensuring that medical products in circulation are of quality, a standard required, and safe for public use. Director General, National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, Professor Mojishola Deyeye, said this during the stakeholders' engagement on the National Strategic Document on Substandard and Falsified Products in Abuja. Haman Jabani reports.
National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has the mandate to regulate and control the manufacture, importation, exportation, distribution, advertisement, sale, and use of drugs, cosmetics, chemicals, detergents, medical devices, and packaged water, generally referred to as regulated products. This mandate puts the responsibility on the agency to lead the fight against substandard and falsified medical products in Nigeria and support efforts that will see a reduction in the prevalence of both locally manufactured and imported. The menace of substandard and falsified medical products threaten access to safe, efficacious, and affordable medicines, undermining health system and the achievement of universal health coverage globally, and NAFDAC is standing head-on to address this situation.
NAFDAC currently is doing its best to fight the issue of substandard falsified medicines. The fight is based on three broad thematic areas: prevent, detect, and respond. Regulators and law enforcement agencies like yours play a vital role in ensuring the safe quality and efficacious medicines reach the end user.
Director, Post-Marketing Surveillance of the agency, Bitrus Fardin, speaks on the strategic engagement.
The realities of the current time, will be added into that document so that the document will be much more robust, as per to cover every area that probably, seeing the gaps that has happened within the years, we'll be able to close those gaps.
NAFDAC calls for the need to foster complementary partnership that will seek to identify lapses in the supply chain to curb the distribution of substandard and falsified medical products in Nigeria. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
And in a bid to address Nigeria's cancer burden and improve cancer care, the federal government has now made sufficient funds available for the establishment of comprehensive cancer centers across the 6 geopolitical zones. Minister of State for Health, Dr. Tunji Alausa, disclosed this at a World Cancer Day symposium where steps aimed at eliminating multiple taxation in the pharmaceutical industry also came to the fore. Olusheye Adiagbo has details.
World Health Organization in a recent report projected cancer mortality to reach 1 million deaths annually by 2030. Cancer remains a major public health challenge in Nigeria. Minister of State for Health, Dr. Tunji Alausa, highlights series of national interventions on cancer control and plans for the cancer centers of excellence, which had initial hiccups.
And I'm happy to report today we've gotten additional funding that we need for this, and the 6 cancer centers will be the groundbreaking will happen in the next several weeks.
On the other hand, Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, says the federal government is addressing factors responsible for the recent exit of foreign pharmaceutical companies from Nigeria.
In the last Federal Executive Council meeting, this became an issue. Mr. President was very worried about it, and he directed that the Ministry of Trade and Industries should lead, as per their mandate, a calibrating mechanism where individual companies that are challenged or that needs to be supported can interact and do better.
In the National Assembly, I believe that the core is there. We'll be able to enact laws. We'll be able to pass bills, especially the bill on this cancer research and treatments.
This panel session delivered submissions on the hike in prices of cancer diagnostics, treatment and medications, as well as impacts of the exit of foreign pharmaceutical companies. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
And still talking health, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu has called on parents, particularly mothers, traditional leaders and community leaders, where female genital mutilation still persists, to consider the damage and irreversible health implications inflicted on the girl child. She made the call in a statement to commemorate this year's International Day of Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, FGM, under the theme, Her Voice, Her Future, Investing in Survivors-Led Movement to End Female Genital Mutilation. She says the day once again reminds us of the responsibility we bear to protect the rights, vulnerability and well-being of the girl child while acknowledging the progress. Nigeria's Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, has been elected as the pioneer chairman, Africa Minerals Strategy Group. The event, which held on the sidelines of the 30th edition of Investing in Africa in Durban, Cape Town, South Africa, was attended by ministers of mineral development. Speaking at the signing of the resolutions, Alake enjoined African leaders to forge a common front to get maximum benefits from the mineral resources on the continent. Alake further stressed that the era of cutting away solid minerals is over, charging countries on the continent to speak with one voice on value addition as a prerequisite for investment in the mining sector. It's time for us to take a break. Panorama will continue shortly. Please stay. Many thanks for staying with us. The echo is becoming louder, with more women adding their voices to the global campaign to end the harmful traditional practice often carried out on women and young girls, denying them the right to exercise and realize their full potential. As the world marks this year's Zero Tolerance for Female Genital Mutilation, stakeholders, especially medical experts, are conversing for total eradication in meeting the 2030 target. Female genital mutilation, FGM, is a procedure that involves partial or total removal of the external female genitalia or injury to the female genital organs, be it for cultural or any other non-therapeutic reasons. This unhealthy practice, which is deeply rooted in cultural beliefs and perceptions over decades, is also widely recognized as a violation of human rights.
It's not something I would encourage rather. It's something that I would actually lend my voice to actually stop because of the side effects.
The pain that the child goes through, and from what I learned is that even after the child grows up, the woman, as a woman, she will not even enjoy sexual relations.
Although the prevalence has been declining over the last 3 decades, there is an ongoing vigorous drive to eradicate female genital mutilation across the world.
I've heard several stories of people that lost their life in the process. It results to bleeding. And even over time, I think ladies, because I actually was not given to, or the procedure was not done on me, but I think ladies with such actually have low self-esteem.
At times it can be infectious if it's not done properly.
Medically, this practice is believed to cause health complications, including severe infection, chronic pain, depression, infertility, and even death.
The way they cut the female genital part, as the child grows up, the area that was cut will heal with scar tissues, and some of them, when they are in labor in later life, the vagina cannot open normally for them to have a normal delivery.
The global campaign for zero tolerance for female genital mutilation is a call to action aimed at increasing awareness of the harmful practice. And to continue this discourse, I have with me Morenike Omaiboje, gender advocate. Thank you for joining us on Panorama today.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so we have seen reports. Now, what is the actual source of this harmful traditional act?
Well, history has it. Thank you very much. History has it that back in the ancient empires, you know, it was a means of perpetuating inequality, and then it started from you know, the slaves, female slaves, and all of that. You know, they wanted to use them as sources of pleasure for the wealthy, and from there they began to cut them, believing that, you know, it would help, you know, the wealthy men to enjoy intercourse better with these young, innocent female slaves. But over the years, it became tradition, it came into Africa and all of that. There are so many sides to it. But whatever the source is, you know, the fact still remains that this is something that should be discontinued even in our continent, Africa. Thank you.
Okay, so as an advocate, have you come across any individual who is going through the side effects the FGM has on them?
Oh yes, yes, quite a few. There are people who have innocently come to work in our office and who didn't even know that it was wrong, and when February 6 comes and we're advocating, we're going to schools, going to secondary schools, they begin to find out more about it. And one of them actually said, you know, people talk about enjoying sex, that she's never enjoyed sex, she's never reached orgasm, and she's a married woman, and for her, she hasn't lost anything, because what you don't have, you don't miss. But until now, she now realizes that this is something that was done to her when she was ignorant, when she was innocent, and she became, you know, an advocate, joined us in that campaign, and is doing that with us.
Okay, now, Morenike, the act has been criminalized in Nigeria since 2015, but the act in itself is still, you know, going on, particularly in rural areas. So what is, you know, limiting the effects, punitive measures from taking place to prevent it? Because we're saying 2030 is just 6 years away. Are we going to achieve that goal?
Well, like most of the things that the obstacles we all, come across in Africa, yes, enforcement it needs to be worked on, more intensely. But most importantly, FGM is a crime that you can commit within the confinement of your home, and nobody will know, And then when you report, you want to be sure that you will get justice. So you are not even sure who to trust. A young girl who we have gone to her school to talk about FGM, and who the family still goes ahead to, perform FGM on her, would not know who to trust, because this is her family now. She's not sure whether if she goes to the police station or if she goes to any, non-governmental organization, her desires would really, be implemented. So sometimes it's really dicey about talking about whether this, is something that can actually be eradicated in such a short while. We still need a lot of education. We still need a lot of awareness. We still need to let the girls themselves know what their rights are when it comes to genital mutilation.
All right, what baffles me now is the fact that women are those campaigning against female genital mutilation, and they are themselves the perpetrators. What do you make of it?
Well, every day we advance, every day we get a more exposure back in the rural communities, back in the villages. There was no awareness. They didn't know what they were doing, and it has worked for them. It didn't kill them. They had their babies. If they even have excessive flow during their menstrual periods, they won't even see it as anything because it hasn't killed them. And if it has killed others, they will just wave it up, and dismiss it with a wave of the hand. Why? Because they feel, well, it happens even in childbearing, where 100 women can go to the to go and have children, and one may not return. They don't see it as something that can kill them, so they keep doing it. And I want to shock you that some doctors, medical doctors, research has it that some medical doctors still believe in it, and they will tell them in the areas where it happens, even within this country, they will tell them, we will do it for you in a safer way. You don't need to use the razor blade. So with all of that, women are learning every day that this is not right. Women are learning, like my colleague said, what I don't have, I don't miss. They haven't missed anything. Their husbands have not dumped them because they've been circumcised. Okay. So really, they may not know. And there are several categories of women. There are women who feel this has been done for me, I must do it on others because, I was punished, so I must also punish others. Okay. And there are those who are advocating against it and joining us to lend their voices.
Okay, so it means that a campaign against this is not really getting to the level that should put a stop to the act in itself.
Well, yes and no, but most importantly, we're still on the move. We're still at it, and we're sure that everyone will hear and it will be stopped.
So in terms of punitive measures, do you see that if it is implemented, will it put a stop to this act?
Well, it says 4 years imprisonment, fine of 200,000. Anybody can do that and go back to it. There should be enlightenment across board. It should be a systematic, deliberate effort, so that everyone would understand what the implications are, what the risks are, what the, health implications are to the girl child.
Thank you very much, Morenike, for your time on Panorama today. It's good having you.
Thank you, Adiola.
Okay, we're moving on now. President Bola Tinubu heartily congratulates Nigeria's musical talents nominated for the 2024 Grammy Awards: Burna Boy, Davido, Olamide, Tems, Ashake, and Ira Star. President Tinubu celebrates these musical marvels who have put Nigeria on the chart of cultural command through their artistry and anthemic earthworms, building and earning our nation enormous soft power. The president commends these exceptional artists for their fidelity to the act, audacity and discipline in the pursuit of excellence. Our superstars nominated for the Grammy Award are all winners, and Mr. President says he is proud of their exploits. They represented the country's ideal, and he is encouraging them to strive to succeed against all odds and hopes that they stay true to their purpose. And up next is Sports Update. Nigeria's entertainment industry has been thrown into mourning following the demise of veteran actor, playwright and poet Jimmy Solanke, who died Monday at the age of 81. The legendary folk singer and songwriter succumbed to the cold hands of death on his way to the hospital in Panorama, Remo North local government area of Ogun State. Joel Popola brings us life and times of the late thespian.
A complete encyclopedia of hearts and a multifaceted individual is the best way to sum up the man Jimmy Solanke. But the death knell eventually sounded, bringing a climax to the illustrious career of the octogenarian. Jimmy Solanke was born on July 4, 1942 in Lagos Island, where he grew up in a musical environment and carved a niche for himself with his unique and captivating voice. Solanke graduated from the University of Ibadan, where he obtained a diploma certificate in drama. Jimmy Solanke never joked with education. After graduation, he moved to the United States of America, where he created a drama group called the Africa Review that focused on African culture.
When I get on stage, the main motivation nowadays is that they know you've been doing it good all the way. Do it better now.
Absolutely extraordinary man, inimitable man. I don't think there's any artist quite like him here in Nigeria.
We are consoled because we know that while he was alive, he mentored a lot of us.
Jimmy Solanke will be remembered in Nigeria as one of the most prolific, performing artists who really promoted, the theater, not just in Nigeria, but I tell you, globally.
Jimmy Solanke, fondly called Baba Agba, within the art and entertainment industry, was an epitome of African culture in its finest form.
He was part of the team that made the film Kongi Harvest by Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka. Although he is no more, he has left his footprints on the sand of time. His works will continue to be in the front burner for a long time. In Lagos, Joel Popola, NTA News.
And may his soul rest at peace. That's Panorama from Lagos. Thank you for spending time with us. I am Adeola Komi Akeri. Enjoy the rest of your day.